Okay, here's something you should know. With each new weird revelation about the Trump administration and the Trump campaign into the Trump transition and now into the Trump administration, what appear to be not just past unexplained contacts with Russian officials, but weird current ones too, including tonight's bombshell from the Washington Post about the president reportedly sharing highly secret, highly sensitive code word intelligence with the Russian ambassador and the Russian foreign minister. With each new revelation about whatever it is that is apparently still going on with this president and Russia, we as observers and people who, have a job explaining this stuff, we here on this show have been trying to keep increasingly close tabs on how it is we're actually going to figure out whatever's going on with this president and Russia. We've been keeping increasingly close tabs on the active investigations into this matter. Okay, so the most high-profile investigations, obviously, are happening in Congress. The House and the Senate both leading Trump-Russia investigations in their intelligence committees. There are also subsidiary investigations in the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is what brought us the Sally Yates testimony last week, and on the House side in the Oversight Committee, which brought us the revelation a couple of weeks ago that former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn apparently concealed his payments from foreign sources. That led to revelations about yet further investigations. The independent inspector general at the Defense Department confirming that they are looking into at least the part of this scandal that concerns Mike Flynn. There have also been multiple requests made to the independent inspector general of the Justice Department to investigate various portions of this scandal, although that inspector general's office will not confirm or deny to us any investigation that they may have underway. There's also, of course, the confirmed FBI counterintelligence investigation into the Russian attack on our election and the question of whether or not the Trump campaign was in on it. Now that the president has admitted that he fired the FBI director because of the Trump-Russia investigation, one might also guess that the FBI has now started an obstruction of justice inquiry into the president. But that, too, has to have a question mark on it because we do not have word one way or the other from the Justice Department or the FBI about whether what everybody expects to be an obstruction of justice inquiry is already underway or not. There was also reportedly an investigation related to the Trump-Russia inquiry at the Financial Crimes Unit in the Treasury Department. Senate investigators have requested documents from that unit for their own work, which is how we found out that that unit has those documents. So these are all investigations that are either confirmed to be underway or believed to be underway at this point in time. But there's also this possibility. U.S. attorneys. We got word last week that documents related to Michael Flynn were subpoenaed by U.S. Attorney's Office in Virginia. It was also reported on Friday night by Vanity Fair magazine that the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York was investigating the prospect of Russian money laundering through Donald Trump's real estate empire, and that investigation was underway at the time the Trump administration inexplicably fired all the U.S. attorneys. On Friday night, Vanity Fair quoted an FBI insider saying, quote, "Was there money laundering going on? Money from these Russian plutocrats that's been washed through Trump's real estate and businesses? That's gotten overlooked, but Preet Bharara in the Southern District was supposedly looking into that." All right, so we've got some information tonight on that. On March 10th, the president did fire basically all the U.S. attorneys, all the federal prosecutors operating in jurisdictions all across the country. That was surprising in particular when it came to U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara in the Southern District of Manhattan, because President Trump had gone out of his way to invite Preet Bharara to Trump Tower and to parade him before the press and to go very public with the fact that Bharara had been asked to stay on as U.S. Attorney in New York in the new administration. But then, without warning, mid-March, he was fired. All the U.S. attorneys were asked to resign. Preet Bharara refused to resign, and he was fired. No explanation, no warning, no replacement U.S. attorneys at the ready. Why did that happen? I mean, it is particularly worrying and interesting when it comes to Preet Bharara because of those personal assurances that were made to him, because his jurisdiction includes the headquarters of the Trump Organization, and because of this subsequent reporting from Reuters earlier this year and from Vanity Fair now that he was working on possible money laundering or other Trump-Russia connections at the time he was fired. But now factor this into A high-ranking former Justice Department official, Matthew Axelrod, who spent more than 12 years in the Justice Department and was Sally Yates's deputy at the Justice Department at the time she was fired. He left that day, too, when they fired her. Matthew Axelrod operated at the highest levels of the Justice Department towards the end of his career, and certainly through the Trump transition. He was at the very upper echelons of the Justice Department during the transition. He was involved in the transition. And he tells the National Law Journal that whatever happened with them firing all the U.S. attorneys in March, that was a radical change in their own plans. He says, quote, "This was an issue that was discussed during the transition. The transition team recommended to the incoming administration that they not get rid of the U.S. attorneys all at one time. And that recommendation was adopted. It's not clear what changed and led the administration to get rid of everyone all at once." That recommendation was adopted. It's not clear what changed. So something happened in Trump world between the inauguration January 20th and March 10th when they fired them all. Something happened that made the administration throw out their own previous overt, well-thought-out plan to instead decide that they had to fire all those prosecutors. No warning, no plan to replace any of them, gotta go, including Bharara, everybody out. What changed? That was not their original plan. Why did they change that plan? The administration obviously in a little bit of a meltdown tonight, for the past week, really, over the Trump-Russia story. When they started to unravel, coincidentally or not, is also when we started to get detailed reporting on business ties and financial information moving to the center of these investigations. Documents related to Mike Flynn and his business interests being subpoenaed by a U.S. Attorney's Office in Virginia. Reports that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan was pursuing Trump-Russian money laundering inquiries before the administration inexplicably reversed its own course and decided to fire all the U.S. attorneys, even though previously, just weeks before, had said they would not do that. Paul Manafort banking records being requested by the FBI. That story broken by the Wall Street Journal late on Friday night. Senate Intelligence Committees, the Senate Intelligence Committee moving toward financial questions in their investigation. The Senate Intelligence Committee requesting financial records that have been obtained by the Treasury's Financial Crimes Unit. It seems clear that the investigations are moving toward the money. What is it about this financial turn, this turn toward the money, that might be freaking them out so much? I have exactly the guy to answer that. Here next.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.